What if your dental clinic had a receptionist that never sleeps, never misses a call, and books appointments 24/7? In this video, I'm going to show you how to build an AI voice assistant that does exactly that using VAPI and make.com. So first, what we want to do is we want to go to the VAPI dashboard. If you don't have an account in VAPI, you can click on the link down below in the description and you can sign up. It's completely free and you get around 1000 free minutes per month, and you can basically create any kind of voice assistants. You can experiment with them, you can test them, and you don't need to pay for anything. So once you have signed up and you log into your VAPI account, what you need to do is you need to go to the assistance option on the left hand side. So the assistants page is where you create new assistants and you tell them what exactly to do and what process to follow. So let's go ahead and create a new assistant by clicking on this button, which is Create Assistant. And now it's going to ask us to assign a name to this assistant. So let's say dental care assistant. And from here, we're going to choose a blank template. And after this, what we need to do is we need to click on this button to create the assistant. So the assistant has been successfully created. And now what we can do is we can basically give it a first message, we can give it system prompt, and then we can choose what kind of voice we want the assistant to have. And yeah, so let's go ahead and provide a first message. So I've already defined most of the information, so let me just copy and paste it, and then we can see it on the screen. So the first message will be, hello, this is Jessica from Dental Care. How are you today? So this is what our assistant is going to say when someone gives them a call. And then in the system prompt, we need to tell the assistant what exactly it needs to do and all the steps that they need to follow in order to book an appointment. So let me go back to my file and then we can copy all the details from here. We can paste them. And basically in here, I'm saying, okay, you're Jessica, an appointment booking assistant, and so on. We can give some personality features to the assistant. We can give some speech characteristics on how the assistant should speak and how to pronounce certain words and certain terms. And after this, we come down to the instructions. And basically, this is the sequence of instructions which the assistant needs to follow before they can successfully book an appointment. And then from the right hand side, or on the right hand side, you can see all the AI models which are available. So in our case, we want to use a model from OpenAI. And instead of using GPT 4.0, we want to use 4.0 mini. So let's go ahead and find this. So that's the model that we want to use because it's cheaper compared to GPT 4.0. And once we've done this, I guess we can save our work so far, just so it doesn't get lost, by clicking on this publish button here. So next we can move on to choosing the actual voice for our assistant. So before we go to the voice section, there is an option called transcriber. So the transcriber is basically you can choose any kind of provider. I usually use Deepgram because I think they're probably the best transcriber. And then you can choose a language. So in my case, I'm going to use English, but you can set it to any language that you want from here. And yeah, so the next step would be to use like to set a voice to our assistant. And let's go ahead and select a voice of our choice. So basically, I'm usually using VAPI as a provider. And you can see that in here there's many different voices that you can choose from. So there's like men voices, women voices, and so on. And you can see what kind of accents they might have. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to use Savannah, and she's a 25 years old female with an American accent. So let's select Savannah, and let's just save our work by clicking this publish button. So once we have set basically our system prompt first message, and we've chosen a voice for our assistant, the next step would be to add a tool to our assistant, and the tool will be basically used to send a request to our server and save the appointment. So basically, when a patient calls the agent or our dental clinic, the agent is going to pick up the call, and they're going to basically collect all the necessary information, such as the patient's name, the appointment's date and time, and any other information that we want to save. And basically, once this information is collected, we want to send that to our server side or our make scenario. And then we're going to basically ingest this information into an Excel spreadsheet. So how do we create a new tool? So you can see from the menu on the left hand side, you've got something called tools. So you can click on this. Once you're on the tools page, what you need to do is you need to click on create tool, and you need to choose a function. So once you have done this, what we need to do is basically we need to provide tool name. So let's say save booking details, and then we need to give it some description. So let me just copy and paste my description. So the description needs to be very clear and concise of what exactly this tool or this function is going to do. And this is because when the agent is speaking to the patient, the agent needs to know when exactly they need to trigger this function. So, in other words, once the agent has all the necessary information, like patient's name, date, and time, only then they will trigger this function and send the information to our server side so that the information can be saved in a spreadsheet or any other file that we want, or a database. And what we want to do now is basically we want to add some parameters to this function. So if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there is a parameters section. And from here, what you need to do is you need to click add property. So the first property will be name, and this will be the name of the patient. So let's say the patient's name, and let's save this. And we need to define two more properties. One of them will be date, and then the other one will be time. So let's see what description we need to provide. So for the date, what we can say is basically the description is going to be the date of the appointment. And then we can copy this text because we need to define another parameter, which will be time. So let's go ahead and select time. and then let's say this will be the time of the appointment. So let's save this. And yeah, so now we've defined three parameters that this function has. And basically, this will be the information which will be published to our server side. So each request is going to contain name, date, and time. So let's go ahead and save this function by clicking on this button up here. And now what we need to do is we need to go back to the assistance page, and then we need to attach this function to our assistant. Once you're on the assistance page, what you need to do is you need to select your assistant from this list, and then you need to go to tools. And then from here, what you need to do is you need to click on this list of tools and then select the tool which you just created. The name of our tool is Save Booking Details, so I selected this. And now what we need to do is we basically need to publish this, or in other words, save our assistant. So at this point, we have our assistant ready to go. And now the next step would be to go to make.com and create a scenario. So make.com is a website that lets you create automations, and it gives you integration with many different systems. So it's like a wrapper for many different systems, and you can easily access any system that you like. And if you don't have an account for make.com, you can click on the link down in the description and you can sign up. Again, it's completely free, and you get like 1,000 operations per month, which you can perform. And yeah, you can create any kind of scenarios that you like and test them before you actually productionize them. So once you have created an account and you have signed in, what you need to do is you need to click on this button, which is create a new scenario. And then from here, what we need to do is basically we want to create a webhook. So webhooks are actually components that are used to receive some data. And in our case, we want to receive the data which we are going to publish from VAPI, or our assistant is going to publish from VAPI. So basically, what we want to do is we want to choose this option, which is custom webhook. So let's select this and let's click on this button to create a webhook. And we can say our dental appointment webhook, just so we know what this is about. And let's click on save. So this is going to create a webhook, and this is the address which we can use to publish data to. So let's copy this URL, or basically copy this and save it somewhere, because what we actually need to do is we need to paste this URL into the VAPI function that we defined a moment ago. So let's just save this somewhere and then we can come back to it later. Let's save this webhook. And now what we want to do is we want to define a new component. So if you click on this plus sign, we want to basically process the information that the webhook just received. And we want to ingest this information or add this information into our Google Sheet. So let's select Google Sheets from this list. And what we want to do is we want to add a new row to our spreadsheet. And from here, what you need to do is you need to connect to your basically Google account by clicking on this button and then follow the instructions on the screen. And once you have basically connected your Google account to make.com, what you need to do is basically you need to like find a spreadsheet, or you can just open Google Drive, create a blank spreadsheet, and then what you need to do is you need to find this spreadsheet in here. So let's see, I think I created a spreadsheet before which is called dental appointments. So let's select this, and I will show you how this spreadsheet looks. So this is how our spreadsheet looks on Google Drive. So we've got three different columns. The first one is patient, then column B is date, and column C is time. So if we go back to make.com, uh, basically what we need to do is, as I said before, you need to find the folder where you've created this spreadsheet, and then you need to select the spreadsheet itself. And from here, you choose sheet one. And now it's going to basically get all the columns that are available in this spreadsheet. And you might probably guess, so the webhook is going to receive the data from VAPI, which is patient, date, and time. And now what we need to do is basically we need to map the data from the webhook to specific cells in the Google Sheet. So at this point, we don't have any data because we haven't run this scenario. But what we can do is at this point, we can save the scenario. So now what we need to do is, since we defined a new webhook, it gave us an address, which we copied here. And basically, what we need to do is we need to go to vapi.ai and add this webhook into our function. So if you remember just a moment ago, we defined this function, which is save booking details. And this function is responsible for basically retrieving the date, name, and time from the conversation with our patients. And in here, you can see there is something called server settings. And this is basically the URL where this function is going to publish data to. So basically, what's going to happen is once the assistant has received all the information, such as date, the patient's name, and the time of the appointment, what this function is going to do is it's going to publish this data, like these three parameters or attributes or pieces of information, if you want to call it, to this URL. And once this happens, basically we're going to ingest the information into our Google Sheet. So don't forget to click on the Save button. And now what we can do is we can go back to make.com and we can basically run this scenario. And after this, what we can do is we can go to VAPI and we can go to the assistance page. And then from here, what we want to do is now at this point, we want to start testing the assistant. And the first test would be to ensure that once we speak to the assistant, it can successfully capture all the details for our appointment. And when this happens, it's going to send a request to our webhook in make.com, and we should be able to see all the data from the conversation into our webhook. So let's go ahead and basically test this.
Hello, this is Jessica from Dental Care. How are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about you?
I'm glad to hear that. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. May I have your name, please?
My name is Jason.
Nice to meet you, Jason. How can I assist you today?
I would like to book a dental examination if that's possible.
Absolutely, Jason. Let me just ask, what date and time do you prefer for your dental examination?
I would like to come on 25th of April around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Just a moment while I look at the schedule for availability on April 25th at 10 a.m. It looks like we have an opening at that time. I'll go ahead and book your appointment. Can I confirm that for you?
Yes, please.
Great. Your dental examination is booked for April 25th at 10 a.m. If you have any questions or need to reschedule, feel free to reach out. Have a wonderful day, Jason.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
You're welcome. Take care, Jason. Bye.
Cool. So this was our first call with our assistant. So let's go back to make.com now and see if our webhook actually received some data from this conversation. As you can see, our make scenario was successfully triggered. And now what we can do is basically we can check the data that our webhook received. So if you click on this button here, and if you expand the message, and from here what we want to select is tool calls, and we want to expand this, and from here we click on this function. So you can see the function that we received is called save booking details, and this is the function that we defined in VAPI. And if we expand the arguments, so you can see that all the information that we shared with the assistant has been successfully passed on to the server side or to this webhook. And it's basically 25th of April, 10 a.m., and then the name is Jason. And now what we can do is we can use this information and we can map it to our Google Sheet. So when I speak to the assistant next, it's going to actually ingest the data into the Google Sheet. So if you click on Google Sheets again, and now here you've got patient. So if you click on this, now you have access to all the data from the webhook. And from here, we go to tool calls, then we expand the function, we expand the arguments, and now we map the name to the patient. And then we need to do something similar for the date, but this time we need to choose date, and we need to do exactly the same for the time. So we choose time here. And as you can guess now, when we speak to the assistant again, it's going to basically all the details will be published to the webhook, and then the webhook is going to pass all of this information to Google Sheets, and this component is going to basically get this information and ingest it into the appropriate columns. So let's save this scenario, click the save button, and now we can basically speak to the assistant again. So let's run this scenario. Let's go back to our assistant and make another call, and let's see if this is going to basically add all the information automatically.
It looks like we have an opening at that time. I'll go ahead and book your appointment for April 25th at 10 o'clock. Can you please confirm your name for the booking?
Yes, my name is Jason.
Just a sec. Thank you, Jason. Your appointment for a dental examination has been successfully booked for April 25th at 10 o'clock. If you have any other questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask. Have a great day.
So now, if we go back to our make scenario, you see that the make scenario was triggered again. And if we just quickly go through the data that was received, so let's see what we got this time. So yeah, I use 25th of April, my name Jason, and then the time is 10 a.m. Now, if we expand our Google Sheet, we should see that we actually added a new row to it. So you can see that it added a new row and it updated 3 columns. So this is expected. And the final test is to actually go to our actual Google Sheet and see if the data appears. As you can see, as I basically opened this tab or as I clicked on it, it automatically refreshed, and now we have all the data from this call with our assistant, and you can see everything is mapped correctly. So this is pretty much the end of this video. You can take this to the next level by deploying this assistant to Twilio. So I've already covered this in one of my previous videos. I will add a link somewhere on the screen. It's very easy to basically deploy this to Twilio and then basically get a number. So whenever you call this number, then the assistant is going to answer the phone and do exactly what we showed in this video. And yeah, so if you want to get access to all the templates and all the blueprints from this video and from any of my previous videos, you can join my school community. The link should be down below in the description. It's completely free and you don't need to pay anything. Thank you very much for your time and see you in the next video.